All right, Northwoods Cardboard Gang, today we are going to be checking out the Pokemon Market and what is currently happening in the latest sets in the Pokemon TCG right after this. Alright guys, I'm Manny with Northwoods TCG, and today we're going to go over the Pokemon Market. What are we seeing with the latest sets in Scarlet and Violet? We hear a lot of bad things about the current Scarlet and Violet set, and the underperformance and the underwhelming performance of these particular sets, but today we're going to go ahead and look at Paldea Evolved to really start off things, because Paldea Evolved has been officially the last release set. Now we've got Obsidian Flame going to be released officially on Friday, and hopefully you guys had some fun at some pre-release tournaments. Hopefully you guys have had some opportunities to get a little bit of this product ahead of time. I definitely know if you went out for some of these pre-release tournaments, there was definitely a lot of fun. Jacob did already pull the alternate art Charizard, so if you want to check that out, definitely go over to Instagram. I'm going to post that up today, this morning. It'll be up on the Instagram, so I'm really excited for him. We had two pre-release boxes. He played in the tournament, I played in the tournament, and he did really well. I did really well, and he pulled that alternate art Charizard right off the bat, which is awesome. The silver version, not the gold one, the silver version, just to be 100% clear. But overall, still a beautiful card. Still not really into the whole new Charizard yet. The whole crown thing, just it isn't doing it for me yet, but a dark type Charizard is pretty cool. Overall, I think the artwork is really good for now that I see the card in person. It's just the look of the Charizard overall still might take some time to grow on me personally. But overall, I do think that the card will do really well futuristically. I think it's a really strong Charizard overall for that particular one, and I think that there's some really good opportunities in this particular set. So, once again, Obsidian Flame coming out on Friday. Hopefully you guys have an opportunity to pick some of that up. I think it's going to be fairly easy to find. Overall, it seems like it has some really good potential, but going into the market. Now, to me, I want to sit here and take a look at Paldea Evolved. So I'm going to switch down to the other screen, and we're going to take a look at Pokedata.io. Some people have asked. That is the #1 site that I use for most of my investment tracking. My personal investments I put into this particular place. I like Pokedata.io because it gives me graphs. It shows me how much my stuff is performing. I can see the underperformers. I can see the really good performers, and I can make decisions based on how the performance is of each one of those. Once again, when I'm looking at my Pokemon investment and looking at how the market's performing, Pokedata.io really has all-in-one encompassing into it, which is a fantastic site to just do everything in one place and get some really good information. I still like kicking over to eBay sometimes just to see recent sales, but all that information is also in Pokedata.io. I can see, of course, CGC, PSA, and also raw TCG player and just a regular card market when it comes down to these particular sets. So once again, if you guys are not using Pokedata.io, definitely check it out. Go ahead and make an account. It's free, and you can start to build your own portfolio in there to be able to track your cards. Once again, not sponsored by Pokedata.io. I just like the site, and I think it's really good for especially beginning investors and market people, or even advanced if you're trying to keep track of your stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick into Pokedata.io on the other screen, and we'll be checking it out here. Alright guys, so here we are down on the other screen. Of course, here we are, Pokedata.io. I have not put any of my Paldea Evolved polls or anything inside of this particular Pokedata.io yet. So once again, it says I have 0 of the cards total. Another thing you can do is you can track your portfolio and track your sets right here on this site. Also, now that they've added that here recently, where you can see the total amount of cards, the cards, secret rares, all that stuff is actually inside of here. So you can definitely keep track of what's happening inside of here. As you pull them, you can put them in here, and that way you know you've got them. And you can do this with both Japanese and English. Great opportunity to be able to track your portfolios too, to know what cards you have and how much they're valued at when it comes down to your collection. Moving down now, Paldea Evolved is really an interesting one because a lot of people tend to think that Paldea Evolved isn't performing very well because of the sealed side of the actual set. The sealed side it's really weak. And overall, we are not seeing a lot of people buying into the sealed market currently for, long-term holds or even starting to purchase these. But overall, because of that, I think because these things are being open, we're not seeing a lot of movement in those particular sets, in those sealed products. We're seeing the prices of some of these cards maintaining really well. I know some people have kind of crapped on them a little bit and made them sound like they were doing really bad. Overall, the market was just kicking them out just like we were planning on doing. But honestly, if you look at the overall set for a set that's already been out for a few months, we're seeing some really good numbers. And I mean, even the Iono I thought that would drop down to around $70, even possibly down to $50. And overall, it's still maintaining at $100. I'm going to open that one up specifically when we are talking about the current market on, Scarlet and Violet and how we're looking at Pokemon in general. As you can see, the Iono really, of course, pre-release and all that, we were seeing at about $330. Of course, it was mimicking that Japanese market because that Japanese market, that card was extremely expensive. And I think there's a lot of people here in the United States pulling it early and then trying to sell it at that really high price. And of course, a couple of them do sell. People do want that card and they do sell at that point. That's pretty common when it comes down to these cards. But if you look, we did see the gradual drop. So if you follow the chart down, as you can see, it just continues to slowly move down. But interestingly enough, at just only about a month after release, this card has kind of stopped on its descent. We've seen it kind of fall out here by beginning of August here, only 2 months out. It's already sitting at about $103 to $106, which to me is not too bad actually for this particular card. Overall, the pricing on this is doing really well. Now, doesn't mean it's going to hold that pricing, no, but I think that there's a really good chance that if we don't see any major reprints on this particular set and we don't see a lot of products starting to come out of this particular set, even though it's the only second set of Scarlet and Violet with Paldea Evolved, I definitely think that it's holding really well. And overall, that tells you that there is still some strength when it comes to the Pokemon market on singles. The fact that this did not dump all the way down to $40 is telling you that people are still willing to buy things, and there are quite a few sales. So this is all tracking what's going on eBay currently on this particular set. And you can see even at, going into August 1st, we had a good grouping of sales. If you look at the top of the list here, we can go all the way through each month. Each day is seeing quite a few sales. I mean, between 6 and 8 sales on a $100 plus card. Some of them are less, some of them are more, but on average, you're seeing around that $106 to $110 range. To me, that's doing extremely well. That's doing really well for a brand new set with a hot chase card and a lot of product being open for that particular product, that it did not completely collapse and go down to $50. Overall, I thought there was a pretty good chance that may happen, but it didn't do it. So once again, shows you a little bit of strength inside of this Pokemon market that a lot of people just are not thinking about or seeing currently. As you can see, if we go through Magikarp, once again, coming into this particular one, and you're seeing the exact same thing. We actually saw this one down lower pre-release. It had a spike, and then it kind of came back down as you're seeing through the chart. But overall, it is sitting higher than on the pre-release of this particular card. Overall, holding some really good value. Shows you a little bit more strength in the singles in this market. We can go through, once again, you're not seeing as many sales as the Idol, but we are seeing still pretty consistent sales. Every day, some of this card is selling on eBay. TCG Player 2, if you pull it up, is also having pretty consistent sales on this particular card. And I wish Pokedata.io would pull those so you could almost have a tab where you could see TCG Player and, of course, see eBay, even if they were bringing another site, so you can see overall sales on particular sites. All of them are having consistent sales on this card. We're seeing this still moving along fairly nicely when it comes down to sales. Once again, the other Iono sitting there at $40. We can go into here to Tyranitar, another one of those fan favorite Pokemon cards. Overall, that card has just been flat. We didn't see a big drop. That's really good, actually, for a card after release, considering we typically see big drops. I mean, we saw a little bit of a raise, actually, and then it came back down, but overall, we've balanced out to where the pre-release to today, the market really hasn't changed. Now, when you're looking at a card investment, if you're looking at that single investment, that's not great for you. I know you're trying to get those quick flips and those big things, but to me, as a market, that tells you you're really stable. We're seeing some really good stable things. This is only a 2-month-old set, guys. And if we're seeing this thing not dumping really quickly at the beginning, that tells me that either A, people aren't opening enough product and there's not a lot of these cards available out there, or the second option is that there is enough sales and enough people in Scarlet and Violet that they are keeping these cards actually floating up and staying at a maintained level of price. So once again, that's really good for the overall market when it comes down to it. Now, as we go into Paldea Evolved, another interesting thing, excuse me, because I've been fighting with this bug, my throat's a little scratchy. If you actually look down the whole list of all the different card sets in Scarlet and Violet Paldea Evolved, comes down to single investments and pulls and things like that. Overall, the pricing of a lot of these cards are still holding really well. I mean, most of them are sitting. We have a huge group of them sitting at $5 plus. I mean, you're getting your first one that's under $5. And if we go over it, then the $10 or plus, we've got 20 cards still sitting at $10 plus. Overall, to me, that's a really, really good sign that this is holding extremely well. And all of them are sitting really flat in value. Now, like I said, some people would say that means there's not a lot of people investing. To me, it means we're seeing some really good stability. Once again, a card pre-release was doing really high. It dumped a little bit, but not a ton. I mean, you actually went down about $8, almost 10, and overall, this card has been sitting flat. We're not seeing it drop, which is actually abnormal when it comes down to a Pokemon single after the release of a set. So once again, there are those really cool aspects of this particular set. Now, granted, does that mean the single products are going to continue to perform the way they are? No, they could always change and we could see a drop. But my feelings are is if these can maintain and keep these kind of flat lines going on to the future for the next few months, and we get Pokemon 151 coming up, and we have, of course, Obsidian Flame coming out, which has got a Charizard chase in it, and there's multiple Charizards in that particular set, that there's some really good opportunities for some good performance overall in these sets. Now, I'm going to switch back to the other screen. All right, so just in closing, do I think that Paldea Evolved really has an opportunity to be a strong set? Yes, for the second set of Scarlet and Violet, I think that there's some really good potential in this particular set to do well, just because of the fact that it's holding its own. We're not seeing these big dips. We're seeing quite a few of these cards, these secret rares and secret art rares, illustrator rares, and all of these art rares that are doing really well in this set and holding some really good value. So once again, there's really good potential in this set that it could really hold up and do extremely well moving forward. So once again, do I think Paldea Evolved has some really good opportunities in the future? Yes. I think the Pokemon market is strong enough to keep your Pokemon investments safe moving forward. And yes, I think that there are some really good opportunities moving into Paldea Evolved. Now, once again, I'd like to sit here and talk more and break this down more. Scarlet and Violet is performing kind of similarly. Some of the cards dropped really fast at the beginning, and now they've kind of even leveled off. So we're seeing some really good things even in the current new era of Pokemon. It's a little bit slower, guys. Just give it some opportunity. Obsidian Flame is going to be one of these sets. I think we'll have a good draw. And then on top of it, we are going to have 151 coming out here in October, which I think will give it another boost. We may see some of these particular cards, especially in Obsidian Flame. There are quite a few of the original Pokemon, like the 151 Pokemon, like Pidgeotto, Pidgeot, and Pidgey inside of it. So those particular cards might also do well. Charizard Chase, of course, always decent with a Charizard Chase overall. But overall, I think Obsidian Flame is going to have some really good things, just like Darkness Ablaze did in Sword and Shield. About 3 sets in, here we go. We're getting another Charizard set, which is going to drive it a little bit more. So once again, guys, hopefully some good information. Hopefully it puts a little bit of mind rest when it comes down to current sets and Scarlet and Violet for Pokemon investments, that there are some opportunities, and overall there are some good things that could potentially happen. Other than that, guys, I'm going to cut it off just because my voice is really shot. One thing I'm going to point out, and I don't normally shill on this channel, but I am going to be telling you I did buy a 3D printer, and I am printing these cool things. I actually really like these. They actually turn out really good for my display, and I'll feature those a little bit more. It's something that I want to start selling or using these Pokeballs, because I mean, I think every one of us in the collection have, you know, hundreds of these laying around if you're opening them up for packs and taking them out of them. And I found a really good way to print a 3D insert with a stand and actually make it look like the Pokemon ball's opening up. I'm also working on putting a couple LED lights in there, which would be really cool to really illuminate that Pokemon with a battery pack and a switch on it so you can turn them on and off and really make that collection shine. So I'll be featuring those a little bit more if you guys are interested. Let me know in the comments below. Do you like that? Do you think that's cool? Or is there something else that I maybe could adjust on those to make them look better or more appealing? Let me know in the comments. I'm kind of curious to hear what you have to say. If you did make it this far into the video, as always, as I ask, please hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with what's going on in the Pokemon market, Pokemon investment. And last but not least, if you do like this kind of content, check out 2 videos at the end. We will see you next time here on NorthwoodsCCG.